Now that we've talked about the resolve guard that the Angular 2 router provides, let's talk about the other guards. We have some cool guards called canActivate and canActivateChild to know if we can authenticate a user and if they have access to see a certain component. To get into these and to demonstrate just exactly how they work, we're going to build out a whole dashboard section of our application, and then we'll see how we can authenticate that certain section of our site. So the two main goals here is the only authenticated users are allowed to access this section, and then also we're going to provide the ability to edit users. And when we use that, we can use the other guard called canDeactivate so that when you're editing a user, if you don't want to delete any unsaved data, maybe you're editing a user and somehow you press the back button, we want to make sure that you specifically wanted to leave that page. That's another Angular 2 router guard that is provided to us that we can use. So let's get started. Let's look at the dashboard section. We're going to have the overall dashboard section, which is the overall dashboard component. And then inside of that, since our dashboard section will have its own module, we want everything to be encompassed within the dashboard module. And we'll also have a dashboard router. We're going to have a left side, which is a list of our users. And then when you click on one, on the right side, we'll have the edit form where you can edit a user. Let's see how we can achieve this whole section. We'll do a good amount of typing in this lesson, but again, practice makes perfect, and this is really great practice to learn Angular 2 for us. We'll create a new link and then start our new dashboard section now. Let's close all of these out. We'll create a new folder under app called dashboard. And inside of there, we'll create a new file for dashboard.module.ts. And a new file relative to that, we're going to have dashboard.routing.ts. And let's start with the dashboard component.ts. It doesn't really matter what order we do these three in. They'll all get done pretty quickly. We'll do import component. There's one down. Let's move over to the dashboard module now. Now, just like our about module, we needed a couple things. We'll do import common module to get us all those great directives that we need. We just created a dashboard component. Let's bring that in. Next, let's do a little bit of wishful coding. We'll do import dashboard routing from the dashboard.routing. TypeScript is throwing some errors because it knows that that is not created yet. Let's go do that now. We know how to start our routing module now. We need import module with providers from the Angular core. We need to import the routes and the router module from the Angular router. We'll import the dashboard component since we have that now. Export constant dashboard routes, and these are routes, is equal to an array, and then we'll export constant dashboard routing, and that's module with providers, is equal to router module, and this is a child module, so we'll do for child dashboard routes. Let's create our routes now. We have our overall dashboard route, and the component here is the dashboard component, and that's supposed to be a path. Let's do some more wishful coding here. We're going to have children, and wishful coding just is what I keep saying. When we don't have the stuff built out yet, we don't have our components built, we're just going to write it as if we did. We're wishing that we did, and then we're going to create them after the fact. So we're going to have a first route, which is the path, the base path. And remember, since we're doing children, and I spelled that wrong, since we're doing children, the children always has to have a path of a blank string. And component here is going to be the, you know what? Let's move the dashboard component from that top level, and we'll turn that into a componentless route, and we'll paste it in here. Now let's build out the routes for our users section. We'll do path, users, component, and this will be dashboard, users component. And this will also have children. And the path has to be blank for one. Component, and we'll create a component that will just be kind of a placeholder when no users are selected, and it should say something like, hi, choose a user, or something close to that. So we'll do dashboard home component. Let's make that dashboard users home component. And we'll have another path for the if a user selected, so we'll have username, just like we did in the about module. Component is dashboard user details component. All right, so we have 3 components here that we want to get built. Let's create those now. We have dashboard users component and dashboard users home and dashboard user details. So we'll create a new folder called users, since this is its own section of our dashboard. If your user section starts to get large, you could do a users module inside of here as well. Since we're trying to speed things up and this is starting to get a little long, let's just create new files here. We'll have dashboard users component. We'll do a new file relative to that one, dashboard users home component. And dashboard user details. Now there's a great Angular 2 package out there called Angular 2 snippets. Once we get that installed, we have access to really cool Angular 2 snippets where we can just go ng2 component, press tab, and we have everything we need to start a component. I know that's a little bit of cheating, but we've written a lot of these components out already. We'll do template. I am the user details. And we'll call this dashboard user details component. Let's switch over and do the same thing. ng2 component. Perfect. We have 3 brand new components, and they're implementing the on init. We have our constructors ready for when we need to bring in different things like the user service. Now let's register these in the dashboard module. We misspelled dashboard routing here. Let's fix that. And we will import the new declarations, the new components that we have. All right, that was a lot of typing. We need one more thing. We need to register this new dashboard module with our overall app module. Under app module, we'll add to our module section. We'll import the dashboard module from and we'll add it to the imports. The very last thing we need, I keep spelling dashboard wrong. There's an OA in there. All right, that's fixed. The last thing we absolutely need is a link to the dashboard. Let's add a new UL, and we'll do UL class is navbar right. And that's a cool Bootstrap class we can use to bring everything over to the right side. LIA router link dashboard. Perfect. Now let's give that a shot and make sure everything works. We added a lot of new parts to our application. Dashboard users component is not defined. Let's go find out what happened. Let's switch over to Sublime Text. The first thing I want to do is make sure that it's imported into our module. And it looks like it is. We have everything here. TypeScript isn't throwing any errors. Let's make sure that it's in our routing as well. And it looks like we defined these with our earlier definitions, but we never actually imported them up top. So let's grab those import statements from the dashboard module, and we'll paste them into the dashboard routing. And everything is looking, oh, we're getting an error down here as well. We have dashboard routes. TypeScript can't find dashboard routes. Let's find out what happened. And I am just misspelling dashboard all over the place. One of the really great things about TypeScript and Angular 2 is that it can help type hint and fix a lot of the errors for you and show you where things are going wrong. Hopefully that makes everything good. No errors in the console anymore. About page works the same. Contact page. Let's visit our new dashboard. And we get our new dashboard section. All right, so that was a lot of typing, and we actually added a whole new dashboard module, a brand new section of our website. If we wanted to, we could lazy load the dashboard. This would ensure that the dashboard only loads for people that are admins and allowed to visit the dashboard. Any users that we want over on this side, just home, about, and contact, they wouldn't have to load the dashboard. That was a lot of good Angular 2 practice, and that sets a good foundation for us moving forward when we want to start authenticating the dashboard.